was a way to show respect to the audience and respect your own business. It was a way to protect it.
I am Mr. Richie, and I'm Kayfabe Avenue, and I'm Kayfabe Focus.
It's Kayfabe Avenue.
Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks, I am Kayfabe Focus.
And I'm Kayfabe AJ.
And I'm E.A.
And this is Kayfabe Avenue. This is our discussion video. AJ, why did you call me here so we can have a discussion?
Well, to start,
what how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling nostalgic. As you can see my background, I'm feeling very nostalgic right now. You know, Wednesdays we watch wrestling. We'll have the reviews for Fyter Fest and the second day of Great American Bash tomorrow. But today I had to have this congregation, if you will, because that program, AEW.
You taking us to church right now? Like, that's how you feeling? Man,
come on. Watching AEW, we watching the second day of Fyter Fest, and we have the announcement by Tazz himself that the FTW title has returned to wrestling. Now,
more of that.
He presented the title to
Facts.
Brian Cage. Obviously, he's the manager of Brian Cage right now. He's pushing him. Right now, the angle behind that was the fact that he was supposed to have a world championship match against Jon Moxley. Moxley's out due to COVID-19 situations with his wife. So he make it to Fyter Fest. They're going to have that championship match next week. So Tazz presented the title by saying Mox would have lost tonight. So going into Fight for the Fallen, we're going to have Brian Cage wearing a title like he should have been. And he presented the title to Brian Cage. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a great addition to the AEW roster if the AEW company recognizes it and actually has it, like, you know, in their power rankings. Because technically have a third-tier title. You know, now we have, like, this could essentially be the ECW Extreme Rules title that Joey Janela, Darby Allin, and Luther could actually go have death matches like they always wanted to, and, you know, bring up that style of wrestling like, you know, the company first started saying that they would eventually do.
So that begs my question right now. Is Brian Cage a good fit for the FCW title?
I mean, it makes the most sense that he got Tazz behind him, and Tazz is the one who presents that, when Tazz is originally the one who originated it in ECW. So why not? You know what I'm saying? That's if somebody represented that in the past and then I represent my young boy something, why not pass it to him if I feel like he's going to carry the ball as well as I did when I had it? So it makes the most sense, definitely. The only thing is I just want to know, for the story that's going on, because I feel like that's a great addition. I absolutely agree with what Focus said. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not throw another title in there that could be like certain like Extreme Rules or something like that anybody could chase at any time. Not like the 24/7 title where it's all comedy, but something that could be serious and somebody and more people could fight for. Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on. Let me finish my thought. But what is good? What's that present to the story that Brian Cage and Jon Moxley's in now? Is that going to make that a double title match later or something like that, or next week?
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, maybe it was a little bit too early or something like that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, why not? That's a perfect fit for AEW right now. You know what I mean? That's just all I got to say about that.
All right, so before we even talk about the future and what's going to happen with the belt, let's talk about the past and the history of the belt first. So, the belt was debuted in May 14, 1998. So the whole reason behind this title was the fact that Shane Douglas in real life was sick and had injuries, so he couldn't defend the ECW championship for over 8 months or so. There was a couple storylines that needed to be like moved through and eventually dropped, and the creation of this title was because of that. I guess ECW didn't have a clause with their championships that they had to vacate after 30 days and not being able to defend like most companies do have, or any clauses for that. So Shane Douglas, while out, maintained the ECW championship, but Tazz was on a killer run. So, you know, he was basically the uncrowned champ. They created the title. It debuted May 14, 1998, and Tazz was the first champion. Now, he held this title for 219 days in total, the longest reigning champion. Now, understand this belt didn't have a lot of, people who actually held the belt. It went from Tazz to Sabu. Sabu won the belt only because Tazz laid down and put Sabu's unconscious body over himself and allowed Sabu to get the pin. Now, he only did that because he was confident with the return of Shane Douglas. He was going to beat Shane Douglas and get the ECW championship like he rightfully should have had. He went and did that. The next drop was actually the unification match between Tazz and Sabu, which was on March 21st, 1999. So this was not only a unification match, but also the last time that we saw the FTW Championship. Now, this title has like ECW lineage built and bred from this. Like, this title is recognized as the heavyweight championship in a point where the heavyweight championship wasn't on the show. Tazz was recognized as the pretty much like the people's champion of ECW, and this title represented kind of like the attitude, like Austin era kind of fuck authority, rebel against the rules. This was Tazz's like baby, and I think he said it best tonight that this title represents like his body of work.
Right.
So that's why, my concern is, does Brian Cage have the history in wrestling to deserve a title that meant this much in an era where we had probably the biggest boom in professional wrestling? ECW was a big part of the fabric of what Attitude Era became, and WWF eventually winning those wars. ECW had a big part of that. Do you think Brian Cage has the background to actually hold this belt?
I feel that if Tazz presented him the belt, and then Tazz is more than confident that he deserves the belt. So that's all that I need for it. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think for the casual viewers, people who don't watch everything, don't watch Impact, didn't really see Brian Cage's run, I think it's probably, like EA said, it's probably maybe a little too soon to debut a title and to re-debut a prestigious, a historic, not necessarily prestigious, but a historic championship. And maybe it was too soon, and the casual viewers, we're going to see, this is probably an hour and change breaking news, so we're going to see how the backlash, or if there's any backlash of this within the next couple of days. But, I see a lot of casual viewers probably not with Brian Cage having this title.
I mean,
I'm okay with it. I know Brian Cage's history.
Yeah. So, and all three of us, including Richie, he's not here. Salute my brother. But we know Brian Cage's history. I don't think that's going to be the backlash that he's going to receive. I just think, you could have created more of a build-up without having to debut another title, where he has another title match literally a week away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the only complaint. I don't have a problem with him having this bestowed on him at all. We all know his history. He's a great wrestler. He's a great athlete. He did a big things in TNA. You know what I'm saying? So, and Impact and
you missed the whole point of the storyline. The storyline wasn't to build up any title or anything. The point was to give Brian Cage the title because the World Heavyweight Champion is not there. Just like
Tazz.
I get that.
You know what? That's a great mirroring of the past and the present. That's a great analogy. I can't even lie.
Agree. I agree with that. No. You absolutely right. I did get that point. I'm just saying, like, a week ahead, I can understand if Moxley was gone, like mirroring from what happened with Tazz and Shane Douglas, that Shane was actually legitimately could be there for almost a year. Like, Moxley only hasn't been there 2 weeks. So I don't know if that was like
it's
a jump.
been like 3 weeks probably.
The last time we seen him was when they approached each other in the ring after Brian Cage threw him on the card. That was a week, and then a week after that when they had the big separation where they both had the promo in the ring. That was the last. I think that was like 2
weeks.
That was like that's not bad. Like, but that's not bad.
It's not bad. But if you really think
we still have him on. We still have Moxley in our mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not like
yes and no, because there's a lot of companies in wrestling that do have 30-day clauses, and technically Jon Moxley is hitting around the 30-day clause for the title, so it kind of fits in that vein. Tazz kind of mentioned that the title was unsanctioned back in the days. I don't know if it's gonna be unsanctioned in AEW, excuse me. But I don't know.
That was a dope concept. At the end of the day, that's a fire concept. Like, if they really thought of that one and they like, that was fire. Like,
my thing is,
I'm not mad at it at all.
With it being unsanctioned, is that kind of a loophole? Because right now, my question is, how is WWE gonna react to this title being brought to AEW? Because understand, the history behind this belt is built on ECW, which is, a property of WWE. You could go on WWE Network right now and watch the matches for this title.
Right.
You can see the story behind this whole title. So what do you guys think WWE is going to react?
I mean, they just did. Maybe this is the AEW's counter to what they did with this new European title. They just debuted Monday. You know what I'm saying?
United States Championship.
Yeah. The new United States Championship. Maybe this is their, like, we don't know. We not know behind the scenes. I don't know.
I don't think AEW counters in big ways like that. I think every time that AEW counters, they just do like pot shots and jokes here and there. I don't think they would build a division or
probably not. Yeah, I agree.
Build major storylines to have a rebuttal to WWE's title. I don't think that's the case at all.
I think I agree with you. I don't think they probably had this idea in the stash already. They probably already had this idea.
There's a war right now for likeness and names and trademarks between AEW and WWE. So, Cody's known to try to scoop all these trademarks. And is this something that kind of fell under the radar of WWE? WWE is known to put out a lot of their classic titles. They got the ECW replicas. They have a lot of WCW replicas for sale. So was
probably
this that slipped under the radar, just like the Bash at the Beach?
I believe they're basically treated the FTW Championship as like the Internet Championship. Like, it really didn't count. I know WWE is going to be very mad, but
imagine Vince right now.
They don't have the trademark for it, I don't think, because if they did, they would have already been selling the belt already.
Yo, and it's crazy
I think that's another lapse in WWE's memory of what trademarks they got from from WCW, from ECW. They let a lot of pay-per-view names, a lot of things fall to the wayside. I think AEW is becoming like champion in remembering history and
facts
and like bringing things back to the forefront of conversation.
Yeah, and then when you cut a promo, when you cut the right promo for it, like, yo, Tazz got that Dusty in him or something. Like, he killed it today. Like, I can't, like, that's beautiful, man. Like, I don't have no problem with it.
Well, let's take a moment because Tazz has definitely been on a roll as Cage's manager. He's really been the mouthpiece for Cage. And like 2 weeks in a row, he's shooting from the hip. Like,
yeah. You can tell that's not a script at all.
Tazz always been a good,
would you say
speaker,
that
believable.
being dead ass?
I think he's being dead ass.
He's dead ass with all of that focus.
He's dead ass with it. So with the history,
he's from Brooklyn, man. That's Brooklyn right there.
Do you think the FTW title is also known as the Brooklyn title? That's a fact.
He's from Brooklyn, man. Like, yo,
Brooklyn. So the title's been synonymous with the Brooklyn Championship. It's been referred to as that. So that definitely is a fact. But do you think AEW is embracing the history, or you think they're trying to just capitalize off nostalgia?
Go ahead. Go first, Focus.
I think that, Tazz thought it was just a good idea at the time and, didn't really put much thought into it. And then Tony Khan was like, oh, yeah, sure. Let's do it.
What do you think, E?
For Tony Khan, I think that he knows his history and a lot of and Cody been around the business since he was a baby. So he was there to witness all of that shit behind the scenes. He knows everything that's go on, how it goes. His father, for God's sakes, was both on both leagues, WCW and WWE, one of the figureheads on how things should be run in the back and what we should do this type of pay-per-view. We should create this type of idea. Like, when you have those type of dynamic minds in the back, you got Dean Malenko that been around forever and all this going on. I'm to be honest, I really don't think that AEW is really thinking that far. Like, yo, all right, so we're gonna counter WWE with something with this idea. Like, I just think they're trying to create it, and I don't think
AEW is really countering at all. It's not a situation where AEW is counter producing. That's a WWE thing. WWE.
I just think they thinking in the long term, and they trying to bring back
is throw pot shots at WWE. That's all they do. The question is, do you think AEW is embracing history, or are they just trying to build off nostalgia? So
no. Absolutely not. Because
my opinion on this is AEW is doing a little bit of both. They're embracing the history of wrestling. They're embracing the WCW roots. They're embracing the ECW roots, and they're very rooted in old WWF. So I think they're embracing the old history, but they are capitalizing a lot and a lot more recently on nostalgia acts, on
not really, because they don't have them in the ring. We're not seeing a Jake the Snake and Arn Anderson match right now. Like, we would see, we could. So what? We could see Goldberg right now going against the Undertaker again if Vince really wants it. We're not gonna see that in AEW. They still have the new stars on top of what's going on with them doing these throwback nostalgia situations, which makes it different. We don't want to see Goldberg do another spear and jackhammer and win the belt right now, and they probably will still do it again. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. I feel you. I think you're basically saying AEW is utilizing the past stars in a great way, and I agree with you on that, because we don't want to see Jake the Snake in the ring.
We don't want to see none of them.
I didn't want to see DDP in the ring when AEW brought DDP in for matches.
Yeah.
Now,
the only one
AEW honestly falls into. Let me get this off. AEW falls into, a situation where they do kind of harp on nostalgia a little bit too much, and sometimes they forget that they're supposed to be revolutionary, and they're supposed to be creating the next wave. I feel like this was a great bring up from the past, because it was something that was a big part of history, but wasn't recognized in a way that it's like, oh my God, this is ECW's thing, and it's forever just gonna be looked at as an ECW thing. There was only 3 champions, and 2 of those were 2 of those was Tazz in ECW, and technically, the 3rd champion would be Brian Cage now, which is the first in AEW, but it doesn't have a long lineage, so they can actually. That was a good choice bringing this because they could do anything with it. I feel like
who the one who really probably feels some way
of AEW.
You know who the one who really probably feel some type of way about it? Paul Heyman. Poor Heyman.
Yeah, because Tazz is the face of the belt, but it really was a Paul Heyman creation.
Yeah, like I know he's the one who I don't know if Vince and them
I think
really give a
Tazz,
fuck as much.
I think
Paul would. Really.
This is synonymous with Tazz, but I feel like they have such a respect for Paul that they probably had a conversation about this before it happened.
I wouldn't put it past it. Absolutely,
I wouldn't put it past Tazz.
Nah, Tazz definitely probably called them up. They close friends, of course. They got each other's numbers, whatever. So absolutely.
I think this was a good choice as far as when they pick and choose what nostalgia acts to kind of throw themselves in. And, AEW does have a kind of, they have a good balance right now, how they're using nostalgia acts, but sometimes they could be like, oh my God, really? Why? Like the situation with DDP. He should have never been in the ring. God honest truth. That's the biggest one that comes to my mind right now. But they do kind of harp on old concepts, Bash at the Beach being one of their pay-per-views. It's not a bad thing necessarily, but it is.
But a lot of them concepts is from Dusty.
So far,
Cody is the vice president. Cody is the vice president.
I like what was the other one? Revolution.
Fight for the Fallen. Those are like the 3 that they
Full Gear. Those were great concept. That was AEW original. You feel me? So I feel like they should not really drift into trying to get WCW's old pay-per-view names so much, and just pick and choose when to use the nostalgia acts and how to use them. As far as using the managers, the way I like the manager concept is great.
Yep.
Managers are not really being utilized to the full extent in WWE outside of like a Zelina Vega. So this is great for AEW. It makes them different. They're very heavy in stables, in managers,
definitely.
All the kind of roles that envelop wrestling. So I like that from them. So you were trying to lead into a conversation about what does this mean for Mox versus Cage. I didn't want to get too into it because I wanted to kind of get through it and
right.
I like this conversation a little bit more. So, what do you think? How do you think this is going to affect Fight for the Fallen next week and the World Championship match? In your opinion?
I mean, like I said, I don't know. Like, what are they trying to like? Are they going to make it a title for title now, or they? If Brian keeps he loses. Obviously he got a title now. If they don't make it a title for title, so like, what are you trying to do with it? It was too early, my opinion. You could have probably done it after if he lost. Because to be honest, we don't know when Moxley might have to take some time off. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know.
Mox wouldn't even be in the match next week if he had to take some time off. God honest truth. He wouldn't even be in the match. He would have probably relinquished the title if it was something that was really affecting him on that level.
So I don't understand
that direction at all.
So I don't know.
I think that right now is just going to be a prop for Brian Cage until we get through next week. I think this is a reason for Brian Cage to actually lose and still have something to keep him in the conversation.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you already given us.
I think it's going to be Mox Jericho at Full Gear. I mean, at All In.
Right.
So,
all I'm saying is, like, y'all already gave us the leak on what's gonna happen next week with you debuting it tonight. Like, let's say he would have lost without this debut and he would have came back the following Wednesday and then did this shit. You know what I'm saying? And then we could be like, okay, it could have been like a fuck finish. He could have been like a DQ or something, or it would have been like, and Moxley won like that and kept his belt. And then Tazz could have came out, cut the same promo. Nah, fuck that. Y'all try to play my man. Yo, I'm giving him his own belt or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have did it differently.
It wouldn't have mirrored the past.
Nah, yeah. The fact that it mirrored exactly the reason why Tazz even debuted that title in the first place, that was perfect storytelling. That was long-term booking without even trying to long-term book. So I agree
with y'all.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, bringing the title in any other way. Honestly, they brought it in perfectly. But as far as the future of this title, I feel like this is going to be something that's not going to be defended next week. I don't think it's going to be a unification title match. I think this
it wouldn't make sense
for Brian Cage to have something special going forward after Moxley. I really think it's going to be Mox versus Jericho at All In. So my question is, after Moxley, if obviously if he doesn't win the AEW Championship next week, after Moxley, should this remain an unsanctioned title? Like
hell yeah,
previously in ECW, or should it affect the ranking system? And if it does, how do you think it will affect the ranking system?
They should legitimize it. Absolutely, that would be a perfect.
So you think it should be a part of the ranking system?
It should be legitimized. The TNT title is to be defended like the television title in WCW every week. This one you could only defend it like y'all could separate this one from different people. You know what I'm saying? For longer periods. You don't have to defend it every week. You could create stories.
I mean, you don't have to defend it every week. I do think it has to be on TV every time Brian Cage is around for sure.
For now, but when they start passing it around,
belt. I think this belt needs to be the hardcore championship. It has to be the gimmick match championship.
It has to be the unsanctioned match championship.
Yeah,
that's how y'all feel. That's how y'all feel.
It should be. I mean, think about it. Tazz was balls to the wall, Suplex City. Before Suplex City was a catchphrase, putting people through tables, choking people out. This needs to be a hardcore situation with this belt.
Okay.
Now, the one thing about this belt, do you think it should have a redesign, or do you think the look of the title is still holds up in 2020?
They need to take Tazz's name off of it.
That's my biggest gripe with the belt.
I agree with
Tazz
that.
is no longer active wrestler.
It don't need an upgrade now. It could use an upgrade later on, but that's the only thing that they should do. I feel like
it should look similar to the AEW Championship, but instead of AEW logos, maybe the FTW logos on it. Give it the old school feel, but with the new prestigious looking way the AEW titles are made.
I think that's way too far in the future.
I think it's definitely due for a redesign, though.
No. Yeah, definitely. But that's not gonna happen no time soon. Just take the Tazz off of it.
The TNT Championship. If you look at the belt, the TNT logo, it looks like the FCW logo. So who knows? They might just keep this look too.
Who knows? Maybe they'll turn it into the
championship. My last question to kind of wrap this thing up. Do you think AEW is with the debut of this is gonna have too many titles? There's rumors of a 6-man tag team championship coming out. We already have 4 main titles on the show, with this one being 5. So do you think AEW is at a point where they have too many titles?
No, not yet. They catching up.
They need it. In order to keep it fresh, they needed to start rotating main events. Like you get a world champion in the main event, and then another show you get the tag team champion main event, then the women's main event, and sanction trios, kayfabe, fuck the world, all that stuff. Everything has to be rotated. Look at all the belts that New Japan has. And the thing is, with New Japan, their belts have meaning. Like, if you're the heavyweight championship, you weigh a heavyweight. If you're a junior heavyweight, then you're under that heavyweight range. And then if you want to go for the never open weight, you could be either heavyweight or junior heavyweight. It really doesn't matter. And if Desperado wins it, he said he's gonna open it up to the genders. So it really all depends on who's gonna be in the division fighting for it, and that makes it stand out. And I feel Darby Allin, Joey Janela,
Sean Spears,
they
the people who's kind of like dangling.
Any really like hardcore, I wouldn't say Sean Spears is a hardcore wrestler, but any wrestler that's willing to cheat to win the championship, or
who's just a badass,
who just really wants to have a hardcore death match.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because Cody is kind of cycling in new stars and the underutilized talent with the TNT title. You're right,
and that's what I'm saying. Like we because of this pandemic bullshit that's going on, we forgetting that they actually do have a big roster of people that can't get here yet. You know what I mean? We forgetting about Pac. We forgetting about a bunch of Josie women that they still have signed, literally, that's living in Japan right now that could come over. So they need more titles. You know what I mean? When they come back, we might get a AEW Dark title. You know, honestly, strictly for you.
This should be one of the belts that maybe should be defended on AEW Dark. Honestly, I watched the last episode of AEW Dark.
They have a lot of new talent.
We need to bring more prestige to that show. Watching a bunch of new talent and jobbers come and just get squashed, match in and match out on AEW Dark doesn't do it for me. Literally, there was 4 squash matches in a row. And then
it's basically a tryout.
It's a tryout thing, but they should bring more prestige to it. So having the FTW title or the TNT title or any one of those titles filtering into that show, I think it'll bring the prestige of that show a little bit more up, bring the viewers in. And this, but as far as the FTW Championship, it'll bring more prestige to that title kind of instantly because you can get more defenses, you can get more spotlight on that title.
And why not? Like they have, like we sleeping on how deep their roster is now. Like there's a lot of new people I see every week on Dark or whatever the case may be, and these guys is amazing. You know what I mean? And women. Like
so. With that being said, real quick, who you think will be the next 3 champions? Who would be a good fit to be the next 3 champions in line
for the FCW?
The FTW.
You already said yours, Focus. You said Darby, you said Joey, and who else you said, Focus?
I think me personally, I think it's Joey, Darby, or Pac.
Yeah, Pac needs to come back, man. Like we need to get him back over here from the UK.
Again, you know why I take Joey Janela out because he's been doing things with Sonny Kiss. I think they're gonna go for more of a tag team thing. So I'd put Sean Spears.
But Sean Spears also been trying to find a tag team partner.
I think they kind of dropped that storyline.
Yeah, they dropped that.
After Sean Spears started losing a lot, and
he gave him the Michael Jackson glove.
Yeah. So I don't know if they dropped that, but
if you notice, now they took the because remember they before on the screen they used to say the chairman Sean Spears. They took the chairman off now.
Yeah,
if y'all ain't noticed that, so now I guess he's gonna be the glove. The glove, Sean Spears.
Being said, we can do this all day.
Hold up. I ain't picked my 3, man. Hold up.
Oh yeah, you come on, you slacking, brother. Pick your 3.
Oh yeah.
We got 3 minutes. Pick your 3.
I'll pick Archer. I want Archer to start stepping.
Archer.
I'll pick Archer. I like Lance Archer. I'll put Darby. Darby needs a belt eventually. Like we gotta stop playing with Darby. He's amazing. I don't know, man. I'll take Sean Spears. Sean Spears needs to step his game up as well. Right?
Definitely needs to step his game up.
Or Sky. I'll put Sky up. You know what I mean?
Scorpio Sky. I didn't think about that.
You got to put Ricky Starks up there.
I like
Ricky Starks. Get out of here.
We could throw Ricky up in there. I'll pick Sky and Starks.
I don't want his glittery ass all over this title, man.
But I'm throwing Lance. I'm throwing Spears. And, either Sky or Starks. That's my 3, 4.
All right.
You know
All right.
I mean?
So,
I like Sky.
like I said, with that being said, we could do this all day. Focus, where can they find you?
Find me everywhere. Find me on the Facebook, Instagrams, and YouTube. You know all that.
EA, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on the Facebook group. You know what I mean? My Twitter is @e.a. Send all the hate mail here. I handle those. Like, I get all that. Go ahead, AJ. Speak your piece, brother.
You can find me at Kayfabe_AJ on Instagram. You can also find me at the Kayatic Dreams podcast on all streaming platforms. Follow us on Facebook on our Kayfabe Avenue Facebook group. Join us and subscribe to our YouTube page.
YouTube.
Comment, chime in, watch the videos, and follow our podcast on all streaming platforms. Kayfabe Avenue on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you can listen. I don't know about all that, but this has been Kayfabe AJ. That has been Kayfabe Focus and E.A. Kenny,
yes, sir.
Take us home.
Goodbye. And good night. Bang!